Good morning, Zio here, and today we are going to be talking about the problems with World of Warcraft. That's right, I've decided we're going to be doing a new series. So since I did this WoW versus Final Fantasy 14 thing, where we compared certain things that the games have that they both offer, how they offer it, and how bad or good they are. For the most part, usually one is better than the other, of course. I've decided, let's talk about the problems with World of Warcraft, Blizzard, and the developer team just right now. Let's just talk about that for a bit. So grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? Now, I have nothing to show for you on the screen this time, so as a result, you're going to get to watch this trailer over here. This is the full trailer for Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. You should totally go play it, even though we're doing a video completely talking about WoW, because I don't know what else to put there, to be totally honest. I guess I could put, like, WoW footage. Yeah. Nah, see, this is better to look at. Anyway, so with that, let's talk about the problems with WoW. Today, we're talking about how the developers can't take blame for anything. All right, so you may not know this, and I would love to show it off. The problem is I'm kind of blocked by a majority of the developers. Yeah. So when I wasn't blocked, I'm pretty sure they used a blockchain because I may or may not follow certain people they don't politically align with or they don't like or whatever for this, that, and the other. They use blockchains to essentially, or block lists to block anyone who follows that person and whatnot, which is how I tend to be blocked by people I have never once interacted with. And that includes developers. And most of Blizzard staff I've never interacted with. Therefore, for them to have blocked me, that would probably be the only way they would have done it. I'm on a list somewhere to block because I followed the wrong person who has the wrong ideas, right, in these people's minds. Which, I think is a bit ridiculous, but you do you, boo, right? Anyway, when I wasn't blocked, back in the early days of my Twitter escapades or whatnot, I followed a lot of these people. I followed developers for World of Warcraft. I followed developers from Diablo, which those are people I can see, by the way, Diablo developers. But for the most part, I followed the Blizzard account, the WoW account, the Blizzard North America, whatever account, and all this other stuff. And I followed a bunch of things like, what was it, Game Rants and Eurogamer and, GameSpot and Stop and whatever, a lot of the gaming stuff, right? Pretty much it was just gaming stuff that I followed for the most part. Anyway, so I followed a lot of these people, and I would see things, right? They'd pop up on the Twitter account and stuff, and they still do to this day. And of course I still see these things when other people share them, because they'll screen cap it, they'll share it, and then I'm following them who's gotten it, because they've taken the time to go through incognito mode or whatnot to look at the account and stuff, or it's been sent to them and things, and they're retweeting and stuff. But long story in now. Blizzard has a problem. Their developers, World of Warcraft developers, have a problem with owning their mistakes, right? And what really got me thinking about this was that interview with Ian not that long ago, right? Gosh, I can't remember what it was now. I should have brought that up. That would have been good to have playing. Anyway. Wow, if I can talk. Yeah, so in it he says a thing that makes me think, oh, wait a second. I think it was the Torghast comments that really got me going, where people aren't doing Torghast, so they're just not going to do anything with Torghast, this, that, and the other. And we did a video about that last week, right? We talked about it last week, but he's not the only one who does this, where They just don't take blame. Oh, it was the old guard comment. There we go. Jeez. Anyway, he blamed the freaking old guard. Oh my gosh. Wow, I needed to write that down. So, they were talking about covenants, Torghast, and all this other stuff, and Ian blames the old guard and says, it's what they learned from the old guard, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other, and it's just not working. And it made me think, and I was just like, how? Why? Of all the people to blame, you would blame people who, one, aren't at the company anymore, two, never did anything like what you've been doing, and three, aren't at the company anymore, so it's not like they can defend themselves properly, especially if you've sort of villainized them one way or another, like a lot of the developers have done with some of those people. And we're not talking about the people who were released or removed from the company because of a certain lawsuit. We're talking about the other old guard, the ones who made WoW what it was back in the day to the height that it was. And then when they started leaving, the downcline, or WoW started to decline as it became Activision Blizzard, a company that makes games instead of, what I lost my train of thought, like gamers making games. Anyway, they went from essentially being a gaming company to a company that makes games, right? My mind froze for a second. But yeah, anyway, they essentially did that, right? They went from a gaming company to a company who makes games at some point in time. The old guard left and stuff, but the problem persists. The developers love to blame anything else, right? You would see it on Twitter and other places and in interviews and stuff where they'll blame somebody else. This time, Ian was blaming the old guard for something that the old guard there's no lessons the old guard could have taught you for what you're doing now, right? They didn't have those mechanics. They didn't have those systems in the game back then. So I don't know exactly who thinks that was a good line to use, but, it's also not the first time that sort of thing has been done, right? It's similar to how every expansion we hear the same similar line. We're doing these changes and we realized that we just wasn't listening to the player feedback like we should have, and we promise to listen to it more going forward and make changes appropriate to that sort of stuff, and we'll be more forthcoming with our changes and we'll be more communicative. And then they just don't, right? Expansion launches after we've been vocal for months during the beta tests and stuff, saying, the system needs to go, the system needs to be reworked, whatnot. It comes out in all its full glory with no changes whatsoever, hardly. And Blizzard is just like, good enough, right? And then partway through the expansion, we get the same thing again, right? We should have listened to the players. We should have listened to feedback. We'll do better next time. And the fact that we just keep falling for it, right? And we keep thinking, okay, next expansion is going to be the one. Next expansion is going to be the one. I mean, heck, I've been doing it for like the last several expansions myself. The next expansion is going to be the one. And I've given up at this point. It's not going to be the one, but Blizzard loves to blame anyone else. Blizzard blames the toxicity that exists in game on people like Asmongold, right? That's their biggest go-to. Well, it's Asmongold and his community. They're the toxic people. And even though people have left the game, people like Asmongold are currently playing things like Final Fantasy XIV and other people that they would consider toxic because essentially their biggest sin is disagreeing with the developer's vision. They've left and they're playing something like Final Fantasy XIV as well, and their communities went with them and are playing those games. But at the same time, those toxic people still persist inside World of Warcraft, right? They're still there, and if not, they're worse than ever before at this point. You just, wow, I don't know how else to put it. They're there still, and they're still doing what they do, and sometimes it feels like it's worse than it was. You know, I don't even have my chat open anymore in WoW. Not that I play WoW anymore, but when I near the end time of my subscription and stuff and I was playing, I just disabled chat altogether. Like, I don't have a box down there anymore. It's just empty. Nothing's being said because there's no point. You've got people spamming about carriers. You've got people doing, talking politics or whatnot, which, is fine or whatnot. But then you've got other people doing really stupid things and yelling at other people and all this other stuff. And honestly, I don't need it. There's no reason for it. I haven't played with a actual guild in years at this point. And most of my friends, most of the people I know, friends and whatnot, they're not even playing WoW anymore. Heck, I found out recently that two of them, lifelong WoW players, who I tried to get into Final Fantasy 14 a few years back and said, look, you got to check this out. Free trial up to level 35 at the time and all this other stuff. It's really great. I love it. Well, apparently at some point in time during the whole lawsuit, or right before the whole lawsuit thing broke out, guess who swapped over to Final Fantasy 14? Yeah, they did. And they've been playing it instead of WoW. They canceled their WoW subscriptions and have been playing Final Fantasy 14. So, I don't really know anyone who plays WoW anymore at this rate. Maybe one or two people. Yeah, she still or I don't know if she's still playing, but she hasn't swapped over to anything else. She's been playing a lot of 7 Days to Die or whatnot. But yeah, I don't really know anybody who properly plays it anymore. But yeah, one of the biggest issues with WoW developers is the fact that they can't own their own mistakes. I'm pretty sure that was the whole premise of this entire video, and I just went off in like 15 different tangents all over the place. Yeah, that's a problem. This is why I should probably script things. Anyway, but yeah, they'll blame anything else. They'll blame players, they'll blame streamers, they'll blame the old guard who aren't there anymore for why things are the way they are, instead of just coming out and saying, look, we wanted this. We thought it was going to be fantastic. We were wrong. You were right. Let's fix this now. Yeah, that's all I got to say on that. So, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.